Assalamualaikum, my name is Muhammad Khairul, and today I'm going to present about SUKUK. SUKUK means legal instrument, deed or check. It is Arabic name for finance certificates but can be seen as Islamic equivalent of bonds. According to Securities Commission Malaysia, SUKUK refers to certificate of equal value which evidence undivided ownership or investment in the asset using Sharia principles and concept endorsement by the Sharia Advisory Council Malaysia, accounting and auditing organisation for Islamic finance institution, describes SUKUK as a security of equal denominations representing individual ownership interest in a portfolio of liables existing or further asset. To make it easier, think SUKUK as Islamic bonds that structured in a way to generate returns to investors and is similar to an asset-backed security. They are issued and traded in compliance with the principle of Sharia, which prohibits the elements of riba or interest in its applications.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Ishaq bin Abdul Razak, and now I'm going to tell you about the SUKUK modus operandi. In general, when investors buy SUKUK and become SUKUK holders, they receive a certificate from the issuer to evidence their ownership and are entitled to receive periodic profit payments based on the principal amount invested. Upon maturity, the SUKUK holder will get back the principal amount of investment and its profit by reselling the certificate to the issuer. The application of SUKUK will vary according to its principle. Different types of SUKUK are based on the different structure of Islamic contracts like murabahah, ijrah, itisna, musyarakah, and etc. depending on the project that SUKUK is financing.
So we have just learned about the general approach or method of operation of SUKUK. For this part, I'm going to cover and give an example of SUKUK Musyarakah. SUKUK Musyarakah is one of the most famous SUKUK that are being used here in Malaysia. In SUKUK Musyarakah, there will be three parties involved. They are known as the investor, SPV, and also originator. It starts when the SPV issues SUKUK to the investors. Certificates will be given as the proof of ownership in the SUKUK Musyarakah. As an exchange, the investor would subscribe to the SUKUK and pay the proceeds to the SPV. SPV will then become the trustee. Next, the SPV as the trustee and also originator as the partner will enter into a musyarakah arrangement. In this arrangement, the originator will agree to sell and trustee agrees to purchase certain assets that is known as the musyarakah asset from the originator. The originator and trustee shall receive a pre-agreed percentage share of profits or loss generated by the musyarakah asset on each periodic distribution date. By using that amount, the SPV as the trustee will pay the periodic distribution amount to the investors as the return on the investment made. Upon maturity of the SUKUK, trustee will sell and originator will buy back the musyarakah asset at the applicable exercise price, which is equal to the principal amount plus any profit or loss from the SUKUK. As the obligator, the originator would make payment to the trustee according to the exercise price. And lastly, the trustee would pay the investor their principal plus profit from the SUKUK, which is also known as the dissolution amount.
Next is SUKUK contribution to the society. The main advantage is to comply with Sharia principle while boosting the standard of living in Islamic society and developing the society economies. Provide an ideal way of finance large projects for the public that would otherwise not be possible. There are many economic activities or projects that are out of reach of individuals, companies or governments. In these cases, SUKUK are perfect for finance this project without falling into interest-based debt. Islamic finance is based on principles of fairness and justice which are achieved by avoiding riba. SUKUK are well suited for smart management of risk, uncertainty is a big part of investments. Islamic security can be issued with various degrees of risk and yield, allowing investors to choose a portfolio best suited for their risk management profiles. Investors on secondary markets that are looking for investments can be liquidated easily. We find that sukuks are ideal. Thanks for the secondary markets for Islamic securities. Investors can sell their securities and obtain the cost of certificates. This means that Islamic finance instruments are well suited for the fund management.
The last one that I'm going to tell you is about the difference between sukuk and bond. The first point on difference on ownership, which is sukuk is partial ownership of an asset, while bond is a debt obligation. The second point is a difference of compliance. For sukuk, the asset that backs sukuk should be compliant with Sharia, and for the bond, the compliant with law of country or locality that are issued in. The net difference is on the pricing. That is, the face value of a sukuk is priced according to the value of the asset backing them, and the bond pricing is based on the credit rating. Example, the issuer credit worthiness. For the reward and risk, sukuk holder receive a share profit from the underlying asset, and sukuk holder also accept a share of any loss incurred, while for the bond, the returns from bond correspond to fixed interest, which is making them riba, and their principal is guaranteed to be returned at the bond maturity's date. The last point is a difference of effect of cost. Sukuk holders are affected by costs related to the underlying asset. Higher costs may translate to lower investor profit and vice versa. Bonds holders generally are not affected by costs related to the asset, project, business, or joint venture they support. The performance of the underlying asset does not affect investor reward.